Hey, hi everyone. I'm Karen Yankovich and excited to be here with you guys today. This is it's not my first Google Hangout, but it is the first in a series of Google Hangouts that I'm hoping to do that are social media Q&A related, right? A lot of my webinars are just me presenting a topic, and there are some topics I'd really like to get your feedback on. So, so this is the first one that I'm doing, and we're going to be talking about Twitter, and I'm going to show you in a second what we're talking about. But first, I want to just kind of introduce myself and do a little housekeeping. I'm Karen Yankovich. I am a social media brand strategist, and I help entrepreneurs and small businesses use social media profitably. And what that basically means is we develop strategies and we put together plans for our clients that help them develop a plan that gives them a way to get their next client, right? It's not really just about getting a lot of followers, although that's definitely part of it. It is about getting your next client, and how do you actually make money using social media? And that's why today's topic, which is Twitter overtaking LinkedIn in lead generation? And then we're going to talk a little bit about how I like to use Twitter profitably. That's why that topic is so interesting to me, because if you know me at all, you know that I am a big LinkedIn evangelist. I love LinkedIn, and I love promoting LinkedIn. And I basically make all of my clients use LinkedIn, and that's another broadcast for another day. So it was really intriguing to me when I saw that Twitter is actually overtaking it in lead generation. So anyway, I'm a social media consultant, and so I have I do a lot of webinars, I have blogs, I do a lot of guest blogging, so I have blogs all over the place: Daily Worth, Huffington Post. I'm going to be blogging in a few more places in the next month. You should look out for that. I've also do monthly webinars. I've got, a ton of free content that I share. And then I have some programs, right? So I help entrepreneurs and small businesses with some one-on-one work, some group programs, and then I have a full social media agency where we help corporate clients, authors, just help them develop and execute a social media plan, where we have a whole staff that does all of that. And I'm telling you all of that because I want you to know that, I kind of walk the walk, right? So I use social media to promote my business, but I also have clients that we develop plans for, and they're not going to keep me on if they're not seeing new clients and getting business out of this, right? So I really have to make sure that I'm developing a plan for them that helps them use social media profitably. So that's a little bit about me. And I just want to just kind of address this Google Hangout thing. I am jumping into this, but I have to say, I have had lots of Google Hangout glitches. I actually don't know that I've ever run one successfully, start to finish. So let's hope that happens here. But if I literally had to restart my computer twice in the last half hour as I started to get ready for this, because it just freezes my computer. And I've actually tried it on other computers, and it does the same thing. So I don't know if it's Mercury retrograde. I don't know if it's my Google account or what, but I'm telling you this because if it turns out, if like all of a sudden I'm not talking anymore, I will restart. I will be back. Just hang in there. And I know it's frustrating, but hopefully it won't happen. So let's send some good vibes, and hope that we keep the Google thing working throughout this presentation. So I have the Q&A open, not the chat. If you have any questions about what I'm talking about, I'd love for you to put a question in, and I will absolutely answer it. I want this to be interactive. So please put your questions in. I don't want to miss anything in the chat, right? And sometimes it goes so fast that you miss things. So I don't want to miss your questions. So hopefully you'll see, actually, if somebody can go in and just type a question in so I know that this is working, I would appreciate that. So type in a question so we know that the Q&A is working, and that's how this is going to go. That's how this is going to go. We're going to just be talking about this topic today, this Twitter topic, and Twitter and LinkedIn for lead generation. And I'll take your questions, and I absolutely want your questions, because I don't want this just to be me talking to you. I want this to be as interactive as we can make it. So I want to show you something first off. Now let me see if I can find this. I want to show you, where did it go? I want to show you this. Can you guys see? I don't know if you can see this. This item is currently shown to your audience. Okay, so So you guys can see this article that I linked. It's Twitter overtakes LinkedIn as the #1 social. Actually, let me just open up. Twitter overtakes LinkedIn as the #1 social media site for salespeople. That's what prompted me to want to have this conversation with you guys. So hopefully you can see this link and you can click on it. Okay, I'm back. I'm sorry about that. I don't know what to do about that. If anybody has any suggestions on, I don't know, maybe reinstall the software. I don't know what to do. But anyway, I'm really sorry about that. Let me just actually go back in and add my, let me just go back in and add this. And I'll get back on topic. If it happens again, I'm just going to, I guess, reschedule. I don't want to keep doing this to you guys. But anyway, we're talking about a study that Mark Feidelman wrote an article for Forbes magazine a couple weeks ago. And it was talking about the results of a study that he did for a company called Kite Desk. And you guys can go to Kite Desk and check out this study because it's really pretty cool. I'm actually just reopen the Q&A. You guys, and again, I just want to say we've got the Q&A going today. So I love, and I can see Christina's here. Thank you for sharing that. And thank you guys for hanging in here. I see there's still a bunch of viewers here. Thanks for hanging in there while I restarted my computer. I don't really know what to do about that. Anyway, let's just jump in. So basically what this study said, and it's a really interesting study. And, I'm a kind of a numbers geek, right? I've always been really analytical. I've got a really analytical brain. So I love when I see numbers like this. And it talked about how, some of the results of the study were that the most socially savvy sales pros are far more likely to beat their sales quotas. And that so people that beat their quota by 10% or more describe themselves as highly effective. Okay, and in social media, and that's a big deal because I deal with a lot of companies that have sales organizations, and let's talk about sales for a second. I'm not talking about, you don't have to sell phone systems to need sales. If you're a yoga instructor, you need sales. You need to know how to sell to get people at your program. If it doesn't matter what your business is, you as the business owner or your role is to bring people in, and that's sales. So we're talking about B2B sales here, but it applies to everybody. A sale is a sale. So I know that that's sometimes a difficult concept for some, especially heart-centered entrepreneurs, but I just want you to understand that we're using social media in a strategic way, as you can see from the study, makes a big difference in getting those sales. So if you can find a way to do it that you're comfortable with, use social media, use these Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn, Instagram, use these platforms to help you develop a procedure to get more clients. It works. This stuff works. Okay, so the study that I'm talking about here today, so somebody's saying, I'm really questioning the use of Google Hangouts webinars. This seems to be a recurring theme for everyone. I know. I'm trying though. I'm giving it a shot. I don't use them normally for webinars. This is the first one I'm using this for. So we're going back to this study, this Kite Desk study. And one of the things that's really interesting is they do this study, I guess, every year. And in the past few years, the gap is growing. So the gap between successful salespeople that are using social media and people that aren't using social media, that gap is growing. So it's becoming almost critical that you use social media as a part of your sales process to grow your business. Okay, and this is a study of, I think, 500 and something people. So it's not like there was 1 million people in the study, but it's a really interesting study. Social selling is time well spent. But here's the thing that I wanted to talk about. There is a statistic that, and I'm going to kind of look at it. I wanted to pull it up, but I don't really want to waste time and dig it out of my archives now. I'll send a link. I'll put it in here later. There's a statistic in here that talks about what social media sites do these people use that they're getting their clients from. And for the first time, Twitter overtook LinkedIn for getting that sale. So the question was, if salespeople are using social media to sell, what social media sites are they using? And the answer was LinkedIn was the top ranked in 2012, and even Facebook was high on the list. But nobody really expected LinkedIn to jump to the top of the list Twitter to jump to the top of the list this year. And you know how much I love LinkedIn, right? So I was surprised to see this too, but I also love Twitter. So if you guys are not following me on Twitter, I'm at Karen Yankovich everywhere. So except here on Google, because just long story, but add to my Google woes. But I really found that interesting. So 1,301 people said that they got their latest they get more clients from Twitter. 1,273 said LinkedIn, and 1,247 said Facebook. So basically what it's saying is that social sales is happening, but to pay attention, those are the top three, and that Twitter's jumping to the top right now. So what do you guys, and I'm going to, in the Q&A, tell me what, tell me what you're using. Like, are you using LinkedIn? Are you using Twitter? And how is that working for you? I'd love to know, and I'll kind of jump into that in a minute. So first of all, don't you think that's pretty cool? Don't you think that's pretty cool that Twitter is overtaking it? So it doesn't seem like, so with LinkedIn, right? You know that if you watched anything of mine, you know you need to have a great LinkedIn profile, and it's about connecting authentically with people. It's about trying to get a great conversation going and maybe even getting on the phone with people, right? Twitter, it's a very different strategy to get that business, but it's still an important strategy, because with Twitter, you can reach so many more people so much more often. So when I develop a Twitter strategy for my clients, and we'll kind of jump into Twitter here right now. When I develop a Twitter strategy for my clients, it really has them posting like 20 times a day. And that number kind of wigs people out, right? That number kind of wigs people out, but it's really not that hard to get to, because what you're going to be doing is you're going to be sharing a lot of your best stuff. So I tell people all the time, like I write a weekly blog post, and I don't know, Bill, I don't know if you're here. Bill Ballou, I think, was registered for this call. I saw Bill Ballou. If you guys don't know Bill, follow him. I think it's billballou.com, BELEW. And I saw him speak at an event recently, and I thought I was doing great by blogging once a week, but Bill's got me blogging. Now I've got 2 a week going out in June, and I've got a third one coming in July, and it's all leveraging existing content I'm doing. So it's pretty cool. But anyway, every one of these blog posts that I write, my blog process isn't finished until I've written 3 tweets to that blog post. And the reason for that is it goes into a queue of information for Twitter. So I'm going to actually, so Renee says here that she's using LinkedIn and Facebook, and she's only used Twitter via auto feeds from Facebook. Don't know that I get the right Twitter strategy. So definitely, Renee, pay attention to what I'm saying now, because this is really going to be, this is what we're talking about right now. So Twitter's a great way to drive traffic to your website. You took the time to write those blogs, right? Whether it's 1 a week, 1 a month, or 3 a week, right? Making that part of your process and putting that content that you've written into like an automated process to send content out to Twitter puts those blog posts in front of your Twitter audience over and over and over. And the more blog posts you have 100 blog posts, that's 300 tweets. It's going to be a really long time before they see that same one a second time, right? No one's going to remember that. So let's just say you send it out 3 times a day. So 3 or 4 times a day, a tweet goes out to an old blog post. Renee's asking here, Renee's question right now is, what do I use as a scheduler for my tweets? I like Social Oomph over Hootsuite and Buffer. And the reason I like Social Oomph is because it gives me the ability to have endless queues. And what I mean by that is, so let's go back to the blog post. You've got the blog post, you wrote 3 tweets, you've got 300 tweets, or an Excel spreadsheet somewhere, right? And they've got bit.ly links back to your website, to this specific blog post, not to your blog, but to the specific blog posts. And you're using hashtags and you've written them strategically. You upload that 300 tweet file. I think you have to upload it as a text file. So you save it as a text file. You upload it to Social Oomph. Now, this is the paid version, but the paid version is like $15 a month, so it's so worth it. You upload it to Social Oomph, and you tell Social Oomph to send 1 tweet out every 7 hours, let's just say. So that's going to go out, like 3 times a day, 3+ times a day. So every 7 hours, a tweet from that 300 quotes go out, and it's going to be 100 days before that same tweet gets posted again, right? But what they do is they automatically put the tweet after it's been posted to the back of the queue. So think about that for a second. That content never runs dry. You're tweeting on a regular basis 3 times a day to your blog post, and it could be 5 times a day, right? Because this is good stuff. You've written these blogs. There's a lot of good content in those blogs. You're not pitching yourself. You're sharing the content that you wrote, right? So you send that out on a regular basis. Now, we're talking about sales here, right? What this does is it's positioning you as an expert, because people are seeing that the blogs that you wrote, hopefully they're written well, and they position you as an expert. It helps to develop that strategy. So by using Social Oomph, once it's set it and forget it. So next week comes around, you write a blog post, you write 3 tweets to it, you add those 3 tweets to that queue, you've now got 303 tweets in that queue. Right? So the queues just get bigger and bigger. The content doesn't repeat for a really long time. And it's a great way to drive traffic to your site, position yourself as an expert, and let people know what you're good at so they know what they want to hire you for, right? So I'm not suggesting you pitch. I kind of go with the 80-20 rule, like no more than 20% of your tweets should be about buy my program or check out my program. So what is that? 20%, if I'm telling you to tweet 20 times a day, that's 5 a day. So it's not, it's not a lot of, that's not even 5 a day. So that's not a lot of tweets in a day that are going to your programs, but you do want to send people there. Another queue of content would be to your opt-in. So if you have a website and you have a free opt-in, and mine right now is the top 3 things to do on LinkedIn. So it's a video series. You go to my homepage, which is on my listed right here, KarenYankovich.com, and right at the top, you'll see the option to log in, to give me your name and email address, and you'll get that top 3 things to do on LinkedIn. But in addition to having it on my homepage, I have a squeeze page to that. And all that means is I have a page on my website that does nothing but give you the option to opt in for that video series. I write tweets. So let's say I wrote 20 tweets. Those tweets have a bit.ly link to that opt-in. They get uploaded to SocialUmph in a separate queue, maybe twice a day. A tweet will go out to say, did you get my top 3 tips, my 3 video series, right? So now that's 5. Now you've got 3 going out to your blog post, 2 going out to your opt-in. You don't touch it once that's done. Now you've got 5 tweets going out a day, right? So you can see how easy it is to get to 20. So think about quotes and statistics and to your programs. If you've got a new program going out, right, tweet to that. You want to retweet stuff. You want to, if you have products or services that are helping people and you've got testimonials, have a testimonials queue, right? So it's really a great way to position yourself. So that's how you start to position yourself on Twitter. So these people that are using Twitter, I'm assuming, because it doesn't really talk about how they use it, but how it's worked for me and how it's worked for my clients is by me continually providing value, right? Giving great content and sending people to my blog posts and to my YouTube videos and everything else. It positions me as an expert in this area. And when people check me out, I check out, right? I look like I know what I'm doing because I continually show people that I know what I'm doing, right? So that's one part of how you use Twitter to do this. I'm like totally going off script here. I hope you guys don't mind, because I'm kind of going with the Q&A. So let me know if you have more questions, because this is actually exactly how I wanted to do this. Here's the other thing that's really powerful with Twitter. You can reach anybody. So, LinkedIn was typically the way we thought we reached people to make those sales, right? But LinkedIn is integrated with Twitter. So it may very well be that the influential person you want to connect with on LinkedIn to make that sale has their Twitter handle listed there. So I would take that Twitter handle, go on over to Twitter, follow them on Twitter, and then put them in a Twitter list. If you guys aren't familiar with Twitter lists, check my blog posts out. I have a Twitter list blog post a couple of weeks ago. And create a list and put it in a list, make it private because nobody wants to know they're on this list, but make it a list called potential clients. Put them in that list, and once a day, open up that list and retweet their stuff. Engage their stuff, share their stuff, comment on their stuff, right? It's a great way of staying in front of the people that you think will be influential to you. And it doesn't necessarily just have to be clients, by the way. It could be the media, right? Let's say you want to get an article published, or you want to be interviewed, or you want to speak at an event. Connect with the people running that event. Make a Twitter list, connect them on LinkedIn, connect with them on Twitter, and retweet their stuff. And this is how you develop those relationships that turn into clients. Okay. I've actually had clients that literally reached out to me and said, I found you on Twitter. I want to do business with you. So you definitely can get people just reach out to you directly. But a lot of these indirect ways, Twitter can be really helpful in these indirect ways also. Getting in front of conferences, getting interviewed, right? Getting quoted in a magazine article, or, so all of these things are position you as influential and help you get that next client and help you leverage Twitter to get that next sale. And, I just had an idea, and now I can't remember what it was I was just going to say. It'll come back to me. So using Twitter this way is a really powerful way to make those relationships and to let people know who you are. Right, to let people know who you are. There's another, and it's a fairly new feature on Twitter now, right? We used to be able to reply or retweet. Well, now you can retweet with a comment. And what that means is when you retweet with a comment, the comment is shown in the feed. So a lot of times you retweet and say, thanks so much for sharing that, but nobody knows what the heck they shared, right? They just know that you said, thank you for sharing that. Now, when you say, thank you for sharing it, when you retweet with a comment, they see what it is. So if it's that client that you want to do, you can, maybe you saw them at a trade show, right? And they talked about, they put a picture of their booth at the trade show. Now, instead of just retweeting it, you can retweet it with a comment and say, hey, Joe, it was so great to see you there yesterday. Your booth was awesome, right? You're not pitching yourself. You're just reminding them who you are. You're just staying top of mind with them. Okay, so remember that you can connect with anybody this way. It doesn't have to be people you know. It could be somebody you saw at a trade show that you never actually met personally. Maybe you just saw them speak, right? And, you know, I do a lot of speaking, and very often the next day on Twitter, I'm going in and I'm replying to people that tweeted at me while I was speaking, but I never actually got a chance to meet them. Well, they brought their name to my attention by tweeting, you know, that they saw me there, right? And it's a great way for them to reach me, for me to connect with them. So think about who those people are that you want to connect with. Like I said, maybe it's the media. Definitely it could be clients. It could just be influential people in your industry. So I always say, when you're creating your social media plan, you want to create a plan that positions you as if the most influential people in your industry are your peers. Okay, and reality is they are. So you need to just kind of position yourself that way, and Twitter's a great way of doing that because you can talk to these people. And the more you talk to them and the more you share their quotes and tag them in it, you know, at Karen Yankovich, if you shared my quote, I'll know who you are. And when the time comes that we might have an opportunity to do business, we've already got a warm contact. And Twitter's a great way of doing that for your leads, for leads. And I have to tell you, it's a little, you know, disheartening to me to be talking about this instead of LinkedIn. But you know, I'm not joking, because I definitely think Twitter is a great way to connect with people, but it's interesting. It's just really interesting to me. So, you know, there's a few things that, you know, that you also want to do. So I mentioned a little bit earlier about Twitter lists, right? So those, you can have multiple lists. Again, influencers, media, potential clients. Make them private if you don't want people to see you've added them to a list that says potential clients, because that's probably a surefire way to not get them. But go in every day and retweet and engage with the people on those lists, and that's a great way to get that next client. Okay. You know, there's a few things you want to do with Twitter. You want to definitely have a great Twitter handle. I prefer your name, because it is you tweeting. It's not your business tweeting. So you really want people to know it's you. You could have a Twitter account for your business, but it's, you know, people don't want to talk to, you know, mouse. They want to talk to the person that developed the mouse, right? So I like the Twitter handle and the Twitter picture for sure to be a picture of you. If you're not following me, again, I'm at Karen Yankovich. So follow me and tweet me and let me know what you think of this broadcast. You want your profile to be professional, but you do want to add some personality to it. You want people to know who you are. Your Twitter stream as well, you know, and make sure it includes retweets and that you're tagging people. It's probably, if you're in business, if you want to get your next client on Twitter, you probably want to avoid, you know, religion and politics and controversial topics. You know, if you have a pseudonym and you've got a Twitter account that nobody knows is you, the business, go for it, right? You can get some great Twitter conversations about controversial topics. But if it's for your business, probably don't want to do that. Use hashtags. That's how people can find you. And on Twitter, if I use the word LinkedIn or hashtag LinkedIn, it brings up the same search results. So you don't really need to use a hashtag for single words. But if I use social media, for example, I'm going to use hashtag social media because I'm going to squeeze the words together, right? And then having the hashtag makes sense. Having a hashtag at the end of the sentence makes sense. So like if I say, you know, having a great time on Google Hangouts today, hashtag thrilled it worked, you know, something like that at the end, I'm throwing extra stuff in at the end. So I'm using a hashtag for that. But it's what brings more people to your profile, right? I use hashtag LinkedIn a lot, hashtag social media. Think about what hashtags work for you. Use them. It will bring people to your profile. Use proper attribution. So if you're quoting somebody, make sure you attribute them. to that. So Lynn's asking, how much of your own personality can you bring in? Is there a good balance? Here's the thing, Lynn. I think you can bring a lot of personality in, but again, you want to be sure it's not going to offend people. And I'll actually tell you a pretty funny story. And a lot of you may have heard this from previous webinars, but I love to tweet events like TV shows, whatever. So I was tweeting one time, I'm in New Jersey, I'm a Jets fan, and I was tweeting a Jets game. And I, said something, I don't even remember what it was, but I said something, used hashtag New York Jets. And I got into like a little bit of a heated conversation with a fan who completely disagreed with me. And it was just fun. It was all in good fun, but it definitely showed my personality, right? It doesn't all have to be about business. It told people that I'm a football fan and I'm a Jets fan and what I thought of a particular play. The next day, that guy tweeted me and said, I didn't know you did social media. That's pretty cool. And he basically asked me, he actually became a client. So, showing your personality is okay as long as it's not going to offend people. And I probably offended some people with my New York Jets statement, but, so you just got to find out what that balance is for yourself. But I think the more personality you can inject, the better, as long as it's not offensive. So Bill is asking a question. How do you get people to follow you on Twitter to tweet to? I know you know the answer. So Bill, you're right. Well, there's a lot of ways to do that. And one of the ways is a lot of the things I just said, to be engaging, to retweet, to follow, to engage in conversations. It brings your name up in other people's feeds. So that's a great way to get people to follow you. The old standard still works in Twitter, and that is follow your competitors' followers. So for me, if I am, so Bill, you and I met at Steve Olsher's event a couple of weeks ago, right? But I went to that event and a lot of people didn't know who I was. So before the event, I followed a lot of Steve's followers on Twitter. A lot of them followed me back. And then when they met me at that event, they were like, oh, I follow you on Twitter, right? So that's kind of a tried and true strategy to think about, and not that Steve's a competitor, but you kind of get the picture there, right? So it brought my name up in front of people. If I'm going to be speaking at a Chamber of Commerce event or something, I'll go in to the Chamber of Commerce members and I'll follow a bunch of them on Twitter, and a lot of them will follow me back. So by the time my event comes up, they know who I am and they've been following me and they've checked me out. It kind of presents me as a little more influential. And this is an important part because growing your Twitter following definitely helps you become influential. And Bill, you and I have had this conversation. Is it better to have more followers or is it better to have engaged followers? And I think obviously the answer is both. You definitely want engaged followers, but there's a benefit to having a lot of followers also. I have like 46,000 Twitter followers, I think. That in alone makes me appear influential. So when people, when I pitch myself to blog for a certain blog or to speak at an event, they typically ask for my Twitter handle, and having, them seeing that I'm tweeting it to 46,000 people makes me attractive to them. So by following the followers of people that you think would be interested in what you have to say, a lot of them will follow you back, and that's how you grow your Twitter platform. But it's an important part of your Twitter strategy, growing your platform. Good question, Bill. Really good question. Okay, so what was I talking about? Attribution. It's people love quotes on Twitter, but it's really important that you make your best effort to attribute it to the right person. If you quote that you came from Oprah, just use that Oprah, and people know that's where that came from. It just makes you seem more authentic. Then you may have had all good intentions, and I'm just presenting the quote and not really meaning to take credit for it, but people kind of will give you credit for it. So do your best to attribute anything that you share on Twitter to other people. And one of the reasons that quotes are so important, and actually if you email me, Karen@KarenYankovich.com, I'll send you a little gift that I have for people listening today and putting up with the tech problem. I'll send you a little gift that I have, which is a file of pre-formatted Twitter quotes. And it's a lot of generic, a lot of Oprah, Tony Robbins, all that stuff. Sometimes it even makes me a little gag when I read them. Like, it's just a lot of nice, sweet stuff, right? But it's important to use that stuff because that's the stuff people retweet. So, you know, whether it's an Oprah quote or a Tony Robbins quote or whoever, there's a bunch of different people in there. When you share that stuff, it's easy to retweet it. When I share my blog posts, of course I want people to retweet it, but chances are you're going to read the blog post before you retweet it. And by the time you finish reading the blog post, you may have forgotten that you were on Twitter in the first place and never got back around to retweeting it. People aren't that comfortable necessarily retweeting something with a link when they haven't checked out the link. So to get your name, to grow the followers, which is a part of Bill's question, part of the strategy is to tweet a lot of things that are easily retweetable. So statistics and quotes and things like that, incorporating that into your Twitter strategy helps you grow your Twitter following. And that's also where, by the way, you can reach those influential people, because if you incorporate quotes of theirs into your Twitter strategy, tag them in it, they get notified every time you share that quote and they know who you are, right? It positions you as influential with them. So part of your Twitter strategy should be, you know, driving traffic to your website, but also growing your Twitter platform and by using quotes and statistics. And my personal strategy with statistics is I post the statistic exactly as I found it, and I don't post the source. And I do that deliberately because a lot of times, probably once or twice a week, somebody says to me, what's the source of that? And it makes me, when I can pull the source quick, it kind of makes me appear like I've got my act together. But the reason I can pull the source quick is because I've copied and pasted it exactly from the article. So I can literally copy and paste it back into Google. It pops up the original source 99 out of 100 times, and I can go back and show them where I attributed it. But it encourages that conversation, right? Which is what you're looking to do. I do have a file that I keep it all in, the statistics and they're associated, but that just takes forever to find. So it's a lot easier if you use a statistic to just copy it word for word from the source that you found it from. And then you can just go back in and search, you know, the power of Google and provide that attribution for that quote pretty quickly. So we have another quote from Nick Harta that says, amazed that Google Plus was #4 social site used within the sales process. Thanks, Karen, really enjoying. So yeah, well, I don't think people necessarily use Google Plus to connect. I mean, people are doing it. People are using it. I'm going to actually take this opportunity to tell you guys, I've actually moved Google Plus and my YouTube and everything else to this account that you guys are watching this on right now. I had it on an old account, so I've got some old videos there. I've got a lot of Google Plus followers there. I'm just kind of a little bit abandoning it and starting here. This is the email I use, and it was just getting confusing to have a separate Google account than the one that people would associate with my email. So if you're not following me on Google Plus, or if you think you're following me on Google Plus, you might not be. So check to make sure you're following me here. Follow my YouTube is brand new again now. So I think there's 4 followers on there. So follow me on YouTube on this account. Because it's where everything is going to be from moving forward. But I think that a lot of people use it as a foundation, right? They use it as a foundation for YouTube. They use it as a foundation for their email and for posting blog posts. But there's not as much conversation on Google Plus as there is on LinkedIn and Twitter and Facebook. So I think that's probably why it's #4. But maybe because it's probably my #4, it's probably my #5 because I use Instagram probably more than even Google Plus. But I am trying to change that, hence why we're doing these monthly Google Hangouts. So that's probably why that is. So does anybody have any Twitter questions before I kind of move on? Because I want to just talk a little bit about just kind of wrapping it all up and tying it all together. And I want to actually share this. Maybe you guys saw this, but this kind of just like, it sent the social media geek in me into complete overdrive. And I don't know if you saw this recently. I'm going to read this. But President Clinton recently got on Twitter as POTUS. So his user handle is POTUS, POTUS, President of the United States, right? So Bill Clinton has been tweeting for a long time. And again, this is not political. This is just fun to me. These are influential people, whether you agree with their politics or not, right? So Bill Clinton tweeted to President Obama and said, welcome to Twitter, POTUS. One question, does that username stay with the office? Hashtag asking for a friend, which, come on, that's so funny. President Obama, his response was, good question at Bill Clinton. The handle comes with the house. Know anyone interested in First Lady of the United States at FLOTUS? So basically what that's telling me, so first of all, I just thought that was hilarious that they're using this, and who knows if it was really them. Very likely it was somebody like me, but genius. Kudos to whoever did this, because it was a perfect question with a perfect answer. But it just shows how influential Twitter can be. The freaking president of the United States is on Twitter right now. And I actually, I have a lot of Google alerts set up for different things, speaker and things like that. And, speaker of the house, all of these people have Twitter right now. So you can reach not only the influencers in your business life, but the influencers, political influencers, celebrities. I've been retweeted by Barbara Cochran. I've been retweeted by Donny Osmond. Come on, if you guys, now you know how old I am, but that was really exciting for me. I've actually had conversations with celebrities. Like I saw a guy on Breaking Bad one time, and I said, I think I recognize this guy from a show that I used to watch. So I tweeted him and I was like, was that you in Breaking Bad? And he's like, it was. And we had a little conversation. And that's what kind of reminded me how powerful Twitter can be. And that's kind of going to take us full circle back to how this can be important to get that next client and why it's overtaking LinkedIn. You can reach anybody. You can have conversations with anybody and you can initiate them. Now, if you initiate a conversation with, the President Obama, chances are he's probably not going to respond, right? He was quick to respond to Bill Clinton, probably not as quick to respond to Karen Yankovich, but there are other people. So think about who those people are and connect with them in a way that helps you, that gets them to know who you are, right? So I'm not saying that those celebrities know who I am because they retweeted me, but it definitely increases my status as as an expert or as an industry celebrity, right? Because people have conversations with me on Twitter like that all the time. So, this is not really, I'm not really going to get into how great it can be for PR, but this is how you reach those people. This is how you get your business to new levels. So taking it full circle, does anybody have any questions about how, any specific questions about how you could use Twitter to kind of reach people that might bring that next client? I've told you that I've actually gotten real live paying clients from Twitter. They've found me on Twitter. They've reached out to me and said, can you do this for me? I probably don't personally do a good enough job letting people on Twitter know the different kinds of work I do for my business, and maybe I should be showcasing my clients more. Maybe that would get me more business. But for me, my clients, I kind of like to keep them, like, they don't always want people to know that I'm doing their social media, right? That they're not necessarily tweeting for themselves. So I can't really, you have to find that balance of how to let people know what it is that your business does and how you help people and why you're so good at it in a way that is just intriguing and attracts some conversations. So is that it? We're done with questions. Nobody else has a question here, because I am going to wrap this up. So just a couple of points. I'm not suggesting that you abandon LinkedIn. I absolutely think LinkedIn is still a great way to get new clients, but I love that there's some competition now. I love that there's two different ways we can do this. And, if LinkedIn isn't feeling like the right place for you to get that next client, maybe Twitter is. And, consider how important that could be for you. I want to remind you to follow me here. So follow my YouTube channel, circle me on Google+, and let's stay connected here. If you want that top 3 things that you need to do on LinkedIn video series, you can just go grab that from my website, which is listed right there on my my banner there. You can just go to KarenYankovich.com. Hopefully I spelled it right. It's backwards to me, because I did it so fast. Thank you again for your patience. Okay, I don't know if you guys can see me or not, and I don't know if anybody's still here, but I just want to wrap this up. We got most of it in without a second crash. So just a quick reminder, if you want that list of tweets, email me at Karen@KarenYankovich.com, and I will send it to you. And thanks again for your patience with all of this. And the full broadcast without the, hopefully the full broadcast without the, you know, will be up on my YouTube channel, and we'll be back next month. I'm going to spend the next month trying to get out the glitch, see if I can figure out what is freaking causing this to crash all the time. But thanks so much for your patience. Thanks for being here. I'll be back again next month with another Google Hangout with Q&A. Come back, tell your friends. I want lots and lots of questions. I'll see you guys then. Thanks so much. Bye.